Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim series. Today we've got some work ahead of us. Based on the previous episode, we have established that our block skill is a bit less than what we need it to be. And with a bit of research, I found a video, and I'll put the link down below, for a method of increasing block in a time-efficient way. And this is pretty much it. You drop some skeletons in, skeleton archers into a area that they can't get out of, and you basically continually block. I had to put a forge in so I could repair my shield because, yeah, it takes a lot of durability damage during this. But as you can see from the little pop-ups in the top left-hand corner, we are about to hit 100 shield block. And it probably only took me a couple of hours in total. So, with that just about done, I'm going to suggest that we strap in, we get our emergency fireproof helmet on, and we get ready to return to Ashlands with a vengeance. I've left the last skill up, so to get from 99 to 100 block, I left it in its entirety unedited, so you can see exactly how long it was taking for each skill up. And if we consult our skills, we are at 99 now. Our shield, we're just going to top it up a bit here, and maybe another 30 seconds or so of blocking, and we will be at 100 block. Alright, and here we are back in the Ashlands. We're just going to check on our base because we have been away for a while we were working on our shield skill, our block skill. We did make a few minor amendments along the way to the base, but we haven't really done anything at all other than that. We are now seemingly shooting off into nowhere. But if you look in the distance there is a little pillar of fire. Those are spawners. So think of them a bit like the Grey Dwarf spawners in the forest. Except these are a lot worse. They spawn the charred. And they will do so very aggressively. Anytime you see one, unless you're planning on turning it into a charred bone farm, I would suggest you destroy it from whatever the most practicable range is. This pretty much is the main reason why I'm using a crossbow, because I can destroy these things from a very long way away without triggering additional spawns from them. Whereas if you're using a bow, you're probably going to be needing to get a lot closer. If you're using melee, well, yeah, good luck with that. Anyway. We are now going to work on clearing the immediate vicinity, pardon me, around our little launching or landing point here. We want to be able to come and go through this portal without getting wave after wave after wave of charred, you know, every couple of days when they respawn. And given we are not going to be adventuring at night, because like so many other dangerous biomes, or biomes that are dangerous when you first arrive, Ashlands is no exception, and you very, very definitely don't want to be out at night unless you absolutely are prepared for it. Now, I don't know why the charred just randomly wander off like this sometimes, but usually if you kind of whack them again, they'll start heading back towards you, but then this one just kept walking off and walking off and walking off, and honestly, I wasn't that, you know, annoyed by it, because it did give me a chance to wear his health down a bit, and you're about to see why we needed so much block. I've done a bit of a zoom in there so you can see just how much damage I'm blocking. And between 140 and 150 damage blocked by the shield from those attacks, and a little bit is getting through. But it's such a heavy hit, it is building up my, you know, stagger meter. So if you had two of these guys on you, I think you would be equally, you know, stuffed, basically. So the good news is we didn't get one shot by him, which is exactly what happened to me on my first day in Ashlands. With the improved block, we are now surviving that, but the thing about that encounter is it's a bit of a failed measurement, because we had bone mass up for the whole period. So even with bone mass up, we were still getting hammered. So we're not 100% that we can survive a 1-star just yet, but it's about the best we can do at the moment. This group that I'm fighting at the moment is more typical of what you tend to come across on an extremely regular basis in Ashlands. And don't be afraid to make use of the lava blobs. If you let them sort of jump near you, or more particularly, jump near you and the mobs that are trying to kill you, wait, I don't know, half a second, and then start moving away, you'll see the animation changes for the blob, and it then explodes. And the explosion will damage basically everything, including, which is a bit of a new mechanic, if you've raised terrain with the hoe, yeah, lava blobs can blow that up as well, so you have been warned. Now, it's funny that I'm really only kind of putting two and two together at the moment, but every other biome, you know when it's nighttime definitively, not just because it's gotten dark, but because you'll get the "you are cold" debuff. Yeah, Ashlands is a very hot place, so other than the increasingly, or you know, the significant drop in light levels, you don't actually know when the sun's gone down in a lot of cases. And consequently, sometimes you do find that you're out and about and you just come to the realization that, it's very dark. Is it nighttime or is it a storm? And sometimes that can make Ashlands just as dangerous as anything else, because you get a bit carried away, you get away from your base a bit, and the next thing you know, it is pitch black and you've got a whole bunch of chard heading towards you. But anyway, we've gone into this putrid hole, and that is what the game calls it. Keep your mind out of the gutter. And we are doing a bit of smashing around and picking up bits and pieces that are in here. If you're ever running low on bone fragments in Ashlands, I don't know how you would be running low on bone fragments in Ashlands, but coming into one of these is not a bad place to get topped up. This is a Morgan. And you can think of these putrid holes as a bit like a fancy troll cave, where the Morgan is the troll. Except Morgans are, I feel like, my definition of hyperactive, and they literally do not sit in one place for more than a few seconds at a time. They also hit really hard, and with not having my bone mass, when we got knocked outside, I actually took that as a sign that we needed to, give that guy his cave back, and we may come back and revisit him at another time when we have our bone mass available. But trying to fight a Morgan in close quarters like that, it's a bit like trying to take down a 1 or a 2-star troll in a troll cave. You just need to be prepared. You do see me going back and checking on the shield generator quite a lot. I don't remember seeing it in patch notes anywhere, but they must have nerfed the rate at which the shield generator would use up bones or bone fragments. I remember when we were setting up a base in Itchy's game, I felt like it almost needed an IV line to keep enough bone fragments in it sometimes. But the storms don't seem to deplete it anymore, and it's pretty much only when it's under direct attack that it starts depleting those bone fragments that I've loaded into it, which I've got to say is a very, very nice thing that they've done. And it's not because bone fragments were, hard to come by. Trust me, in Ashlands, they're everywhere. And it's more just the inconvenience, because you could only load 10 into the shield generator at a time. And if you're constantly coming back to load that up, it got annoying when you're trying to go off and do other things. So, very, very happy with that change. Yep, and this is a storm rolling in Ashlands, so I didn't feel like being out in it, so I've just made a minor retreat to the shield. I'm going to unload my stuff that I've picked up already. As you can see, it's not very hard to get full of bone fragments and stone. So, yeah. First few forays into Ashlands, you're going to be coming back reasonably quickly full. So, all good on that one. At the moment, though, I'm actually focused on getting one of the new portals set up. Now, there is a game setting that you can enable where you can just transport anything through a portal. And look, that's great if you like to save yourself a bit of time. But through normal portal use, the regular portals don't let you transport the items that have the no teleport flag on them. So most typically you're looking at metals and things like that. Ashlands introduces stone portals, and I'm going to set one up at my base, and I'm setting it up in my smelting area because most frequently I'm going to be using this to bring metal back to my base. This is what they look like, and they are, like everything else to do with Ashlands, absolutely immense in size. So you do need a bit of room for these. I don't picture anyone ever setting up a gigantic portal hub intentionally with all stone portals in it, but I mean, if you were so inclined, I would say have at it. The limiting factor with those portals, though, is the need for the different cores. They call them a molten core. You can see there's 2 there in the bottom left corner of that chest. Those, most of the time, you're only going to get those out of the caves that have the Morgan in them, the putrid holes. And yeah, they're, I don't know, maybe as common as troll caves. So you don't come across a huge amount of them. If I remember or come across other places where I get molten cores from, I'll let you know. I can think of maybe one other area, but I'm not going to sort of bring it up yet. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. And in terms of what I'm doing now, I'm dropping down campfires because campfires, they're like workbenches. They have a no spawn kind of flag on them, and so it actually prevents monsters from spawning in you know, the immediate vicinity of the campfire. So this plays into what I was saying earlier in the episode, in the sense that I want to establish an area around my base out to a distance where if I'm at my base or I've just left my base, nothing is going to be able to spawn close enough to immediately aggro and therefore, you know, start annoying me when I'm working out where I'm going to go. So it's about setting up a little safe buffer kind of around the landing zone here. Do the campfires, do I really need them for anything else? No. Why am I using campfires? Well, they're fires, so they're immune to the storms and things that go on in Ashlands. Whereas if you throw down workbenches, you're going to be constantly dealing with the fact that they'll get set on fire and destroyed by the weather effects. Not to mention these guys coming over and routinely exploding on you. Yeah, and this is pretty much an accurate representation of just how often you will be dealing with groups of chard. And apparently this is nerfed from what it used to be. Let that sink in for a minute. And a lot of you more seasoned players will be extolling the virtues of the Mistwalker by now. And honestly, it's a very good weapon. At the moment, do I have any skill in swords? No, I don't. And that would be a bit of a roadblock as far as I'm concerned with switching to the Mistwalker. But the other issue with the Mistwalker is it doesn't actually include any knockback at all. And the combination of the frost and the knockback that you get with Frostner is it just gives you so much more room to, you know, engage with monsters, particularly when you're dealing with more than one at a time. It gives you the option to just maintain arm's length where you need to and try and stagger how often they can be close enough to take a swing at you. So just bear that in mind. On paper, Mistwalker may hit harder, but in terms of improving your survivability, I don't think you can do any better than Frostner, to be honest. Leave a comment down below with your experiences. Okay, one of the other recently patched changes has to do with areas where there is lava. When you get close to them, you'll see the bits that are, obviously lava. They're glowing red and looking all fiery and scary. But around the lava, you'll find areas that are, they look more like just a glowing dark grey. And until they sort of made this change, the two areas would hit you just as hard as each other. In fact, you could almost just spontaneously die within a few seconds if you stood on a bit that barely looked like it was lava. And trust me, I have a wealth of experience with doing that in Itchy's game. But, and you'll see me test this in a little bit, I'll say the dark grey glowy bits of it behave more like when you are in the water, in the boiling ocean. Like, you'll start steaming a bit, and then you'll get the red effect around the screen, and then you'll start taking damage, which I think that is so much better, because there are times where it can be harder to see the edge of it, and to have just spontaneously died because your pinky toe accidentally came in contact with some stuff that was a little bit hotter than the surrounding ground. I didn't think that was particularly fair the way it was, but what they've now done to it is so much better. So once again, thank you for that change. I'm just chopping up all of these burnt trees to try and get some more ashwood. We will need a reasonable amount of it at some stage for crafting. For the moment, if I get a couple of stacks of it, I think I'll be happy enough. And then we know where we can find more if we need to. Alright, we've come back to base, just at the end of the reloading, unloading I should say. We did attend to our chickens and a few other things along the way. You can see now there is a mountain of newly labelled chests there. And we're just going to have a quick look at our recipes to see if there's anything new that we're interested in making. And that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed and you are finding my videos to be entertaining and interesting, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of any new releases. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching and have yourself a fantastic day.